Go in the crosshairs.
I was cutting grass. I heard 5 shots, and I saw some of them guys running back towards where I was cutting grass. Next thing I know, police were everywhere.
Tonight, stories of fear,
50 shots, and they act like they didn't even care.
chaos, and hope.
If we're strong enough as a community, it won't be a lot of shootings like that.
4 neighborhoods under siege this weekend. 12 people killed in the violence, 54 wounded, and so far, no one arrested. An issue so important, we will devote the next several minutes to it with our team of reporters. Let's begin with CBS 2's Dorothy Tucker, who goes inside the police tape where 4 people were shot on South Avers. Dorothy?
Well, according to police, the shootings across the city took place, as you said, in 4 neighborhoods on the south and west side of the city. One of them is North Lawndale. Creative Scott is grateful he wasn't shot on Friday night in North Lawndale.
It was multiple shots, at least about 50 shots. You know, that 50 shots, and they act like they didn't even care.
Multiple shots fired at 1520 Avers, and through the pod, it looks like there's a few people down.
4 people between the ages of 13 and 25 were shot. Scott was here passing out flyers to promote his barbershop when he saw a white car slow down.
Some guys got out, and they started shooting. People fell on the ground and hiding and screaming, dropping phones and cell phones and everything and keys to try to get away from the situation.
When the shooting starts, what did you do?
I'm like trying to see where the threat coming from. I'm definitely upset. Hard beating 100 miles an hour, you know, because I'm upset what's going on in the community.
Scott estimates there were hundreds on the block because 2 hours earlier there had been a peaceful block club party. Sherry Brownlee says the party ended at 10 and she called police shortly after to clear the streets.
I told them it was too much traffic out here, too many people out here to come clear the street. They never showed up.
Around midnight, Brownlee was in her kitchen when she heard the shots.
People just running and hollering, and it was a bad chaos out here.
Brownlee and others want the chaos to stop.
Somebody seen something, somebody got something on camera, and I'm telling the people to come out and just turn whoever did this in. Because if they don't turn them in and they know it or they know something, they might as well hit the gun in their hand themselves.
Well, police are also asking for the community's help in reminding people that any information you provide will be confidential. Reporting live from police headquarters, Dorothy Tucker, CBS 2 News. Back to you, Rob.
Okay, Dorothy, thank you. Well, take a look at the neighborhoods under siege from Friday until last night. On Friday night from 6 until midnight, 3 people were shot, 1 was killed. Saturday, 14 shootings, 3 dead, bringing the total number of people to 17 shot and 4 dead. The most violent day was Sunday. 8 people shot at 1300 West 76th Street. 6 people shot at 1300 South Millard, and 5 people shot at 33 North LeClaire. In all, 49 shootings Sunday alone, 8 dead for a weekend total, and this is hard to believe, 66 shootings. 12 of those victims died. Let's go to CBS 2's Roseanne Tellez in the control room with a look behind the numbers and why this weekend was so bad. Roseanne.
Well, Rob, it may also be tough to believe that overall shootings and murders are actually down in the city this year. But it sure didn't feel that way this past weekend. With the numbers climbing so rapidly, they were tough to follow.
It's not like those people got together and said, we're going to go out here and create chaos. That's not what happened.
So what did lead to so many shootings in 4 Chicago neighborhoods over such a short period this past weekend?
If anything, it should underscore the continuing issue that we have with illegal guns and offenders out on the street that are willing to use them.
Camila Williams is with the anti-violence group Live Free Chicago, activism spurred by loss. 30 of her friends, relatives, and neighbors have been killed in Chicago since 2006.
The young people under me, they're saying, I'm at 10, I'm at 12, I'm at 15. I understand. Losses, funerals.
She says it's that very trauma that often leads to a desire for revenge and ultimately fuels the cycle of violence.
It all goes back to not learning how to cope with your losses.
Indeed, police know the dynamics well.
I ordered additional deployments of officers in those areas to prevent the retaliatory shootings.
But this past weekend in Chicago, even with 46 arrests for gun charges, the shooting seemed unending.
I know as a city and as a neighborhood, these neighborhoods across the city, we can do better.
The superintendent is pleading with anybody who might have any information about the shooters involved in this weekend's violence to please come forward. Live in the control room, Roseanne Tejas, CBS 2 News. Rob.
Okay, Roseanne, thank you. Well, by comparison, New York City, the nation's largest city, had only one murder and 16 shootings Friday through Sunday. With the police superintendent by his side, a somber Mayor Rahm Emanuel spoke of the victims left behind by the massacres, and he had a tone we've never heard this forcefully in public. CBS 2 political reporter Derek Blakely joins us live from City Hall with more on that story. And he did sound very different today, the mayor did, Derek.
He did, Rob. You know, after a violent weekend, Mayor Emanuel wasn't talking about changing police strategy or employing new technology. Instead, he spoke about morals and values and how the community must solve this problem. But some African Americans say Emanuel crossed a line between inspiration to insult.
If you know who did this, be a neighbor. Speak up.
We've heard that message from Mayor Emanuel before, but we haven't heard this.
There is a shortage of values about what is right, what is wrong, what is acceptable, what is condoned, and what is condemned. We need parents to teach kids right from wrong, to be involved with their kids.
But saying that some blacks lacked morals didn't sit well with activist Westside pastor Ira Ackrey.
It is asinine to have a mayor to get up and talk down to the black community.
And a resident who lives near where the worst Auburn Gresham violence erupted says naming names isn't easy.
If someone do step up and try to talk, things happens to their family and things like that, or something happens to them. And who's gonna protect the people who's stepping up to talk?
But Pastor Rashorna Fitzpatrick, whose church lies just steps from where 17-year-old Janae Patterson was killed, largely agrees with Emanuel.
If we would help ourselves do what we're supposed to do morally, then we will become a positive force in our own community.
It's getting to be like that.
And Auburn Gresham resident Robert Cox, who lives nearby where a boy was killed over a stolen bike, also said it's up to the residents.
Black, this is what people got to do. They ain't, you know, people don't care about their own neighborhood. It's not going to stop.
The mayor's aides say he consulted a number of black pastors and community leaders this weekend before making his remarks today, but some of the reaction also shows he is walking a political tightrope. We're live at City Hall. Derek Blakely, CBS 2 News. Rob?
All right, Derek, thank you. Now to a story of hope through the eyes of a barber. CBS 2's Vince Gerasoli introduces us to one man surrounded by violence and working to change that.
Not far down the street over the weekend, two innocent bystanders were shot, one fatally. But here, just 4 blocks away at a barbershop, one man is trying to make a difference. In Englewood, the buzz today is on the weekend's violence.
They didn't know better than worse. We hear the gunshots, bah, 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 and then go right to our regular conversation because it's the norm.
But Kenneth Clayton, better known as Casey the Barber, knows it's anything but.
We all have to take some type of ownership in this.
For 3 years now, armed with clippers, he's made it his personal mission to offer free haircuts once a month to teens at the Englewood Library.
I just try to give them a whole nother view, a whole nother outlook.
It is also a chance to listen to their problems and fears and encourage them to stay on the straight and narrow.
I couldn't do it by myself.
It is possible to randomly walk through the streets of Englewood.
He's trying to get all of the negative and the gun violence and the kids off the street.
And meet families who know KC, like Lamisha and her 5-year-old son, Caden.
Are you afraid for his future?
Yes, very afraid.
That's nervous laughter for her little boy.
I want to be a doctor.
You want to be a doctor? Why do you want to be a doctor?
Because they just fix people.
Kind of like KC.
Like I say, give these kids a head start. Some of them don't have fathers. Just because you're not blood don't mean I can't be a role model.
Casey's going to be at the Bud Billiken Parade offering free haircuts to kids in the Kids Corner from 11 to 2. At first glance, you might not think that makes much of a difference. Or does it? In Englewood, Vince Gerasoli, CBS 2 News.
Vince, thank you. There is